to be here.
Awesome. I'm happy for you to be here too, especially just with all the things that you have going on and all the research I actually found out about you, which was pretty interesting when I Googled your name.
I hope. Fingers crossed now.
Everything's good. Everything's good. But I kind of want to start off in like your early career as far as elementary school. Now, I've seen that you were always looking for like plays to be a part of because you always wanted to be an actor, or is it, oh, really? Okay. So what's your first play that you acted in as a kid?
Yeah, I remember, I discovered it. I discovered the love for acting in elementary school. I remember I went to see, my grandmother took me to a play on the railroad tracks, and it was this theater called Axe Theater, and it was on the railroad tracks, so it was in the hood, right? And it was like the adventures of Oliver Twist or something like that. But I remember going in there and just getting lost. My grandmother describes it as like the first time I was just quiet and I said still, I just remember being lost in this world of like lights and sound and this imagination that's on the stage. And I remember walking out and saying, oh, grandma, I want to do that. Then she got all these pamphlets and things like that. Next thing you know, I think like a couple of weeks later, I had auditioned for The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, wow. At the same place. And we got the role, and yeah, the rest is history.
So who did you play? You said in The Wizard of Oz?
I played the Scarecrow. I was the Scarecrow in the children's version of The Wizard of Oz. Oh. I was the best Scarecrow you ever saw.
Were you able to did you do any type of specific dance moves? My brother had played in Wizard of Oz too, so he was like known to do backflips, and all the kids were so happy about it. They were so crazy. Did you do anything like a specific dance move while you played him?
Yeah, no, my family was serious. Like, they're like, okay, if you're gonna, you got to get this down. Like, what's the walk gonna be like? How are you gonna move? How are you gonna talk? How does the Scarecrow talk? How does the Scarecrow stand? They were like vicious with it. They're like, if you're gonna do this, you represent our name, because where I'm from, the city's basically kind of divided up by name. So they're like, you're gonna represent our name on stage. Like, so we got to get this down,
Wow.
Yeah, really cool.
That's dope. And you grew up in Louisiana. Is it as if what part of Louisiana did you grow up in? Was it close to like New Orleans or?
Yeah, I grew up. Well, New Orleans is southeast. I grew up in southwest. It's a town called Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's close to the Texas border, so like it's like a couple hours away from Houston, but right off the Gulf of Mexico. It's like Cajun Creole country.
Yeah, I seen it's like called it's like Cajun City. I think is that the term that they use for it.
They call it that. They call it a lot. Yeah, sometimes it can be referred to as that, but okay. It's that area, it's that culture.
Right. So now moving on to like now you're getting into like more so acting. You left high school and now you're in New York City, my birthplace. So how was it being an actor or a rising actor in New York?
It was great. Like, first of all, I came from a hometown and I always moved a lot faster than my town. So I always felt like I needed to be in a place where I can that I didn't have to adapt to, that fit like my mentality and like the speed that I had within. And I was always just trying to find some adventure where I was. But when I moved to New York, it was one of the greatest decisions. When I moved to New York, it was one of the greatest decisions that I've made in my life, specifically as an artist, because the minute I got there, I just remember discovering this community of people, of people, I guess people like to call it of your tribe, of artists that pursue, that explore, that train, that have different aspects of art that they bring to a group. And during my time there, I was always trying to cultivate like groups of people within an artist community. Remember, I used to produce an open mic. It was called
the New York Rican Cafe. The New York Rican Cafe.
Yeah, I used to do stuff at the New York Rican Cafe.
Yeah, very known for upcoming artists. Yep.
Yeah. I had a group called Kaleidoscope. It was a group of actors, and we just came together. We made short films. We collaborated on ideas. We supported each other. But yeah, I was down in Brooklyn, Fort Greene.
Oh wow, yeah, I'm not too far. I'm in Bed-Stuy, so definitely familiar.
Then I went to but Brooklyn was where I was at. Yeah.
Yes, no, yeah, Brooklyn is now like the home. Well, I feel like it's probably always been, but it's the home of a lot of different artists. Like when I first started to do journalism, I would always go to like New York Rican Cafe to see a lot of different hip hop artists. poets,
Yeah.
you know, there was so many creative people. And when you're just starting, it's good to be around that because so many people are hungry. And then your
Yeah.
mind starts like, you know, you start creating different avenues for yourself, and you start
Yeah.
networking, and then these people are blowing up, and then you're next to them, so it helps you blow up as well. The network is really crazy when you like you said, when you first come to New York. So you wouldn't consider
I
yourself
love
a country boy.
support. Yeah, no, I love the support. They used to call me Big Country when I moved there. I used to wear like seersucker suits and all that. But no, it was what I loved about New York is I didn't feel a competition. You know what I mean? I felt like we could support each other. We could support each other equally and be proud of each other and lift each other up and just lean on our art. You know what I mean? And it was all respectful to our art. And I'll always value that about New York City because it taught me some very valuable lessons that I was able to take here and hold true. Yeah.
Dope. So did you join the Marine before New York or while you were in New York?
Yeah, no, I joined the Marine Corps right after high school.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I went to college for my freshman year, and college my freshman year was kind of crazy. It was my first dose at freedom, so I kind of wilded out, and I was like, okay, I need to reel this in a little bit. And I joined for like real valiant reasons. I wanted to be a part of something bigger. You know what I mean? I wanted to feel important to the world, to people. I wanted to protect my family. Yeah, so one day I went and I joined and I came home and I remember my dad was pissed off because I did it without his permission. It was like the first major thing I'd done without his permission. I'm like,
Oh,
hey,
wow.
you know, and he went crazy. Yeah, but I did
Right.
that, and then after I finished, I went back to college.
Okay, so you feel you graduated college and everything.
I did, yeah. I went
Got
to
your
Southern
bachelor's.
in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I went to Columbia in New York.
Oh, dope. Okay, so then that's when. So when did you start with Broadway? Because I know you. I seen you were doing on Broadway. So I'm okay. You might help me out with this. I'm not familiar with the term on Broadway, off Broadway, and off
Yeah.
Broadway. So what's the
Now we did
difference? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Broadway. Broadway is usually that geographic area between like 39th and 50, probably 49th,
Okay.
39th and 49th, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, I did Broadway, I did off Broadway, I did off Broadway, I did off Broadway. Wherever I could work, wherever I could work, I just wanted to work. I just wanted to be in the mix of it,
Right.
Yeah.
So what plays were you doing when you were on Broadway?
We did Love's Labor's Lost. We did quite a few. We did Soldier Story. I did a lot of classical stuff there. We did
Mm.
Romeo and Juliet. We
Oh
did
yeah, very classic. Yeah.
Yeah, we did The Dutchman. I remember the Abingdon Theater. We did The Dutchman. Yeah, we did quite a few things.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
what would be your favorite movie what Broadway show that turned into your what can be oh wait, let me rephrase that. What's your favorite Broadway show that turned into a movie? Mine would have to be I would say probably In the Heights. That movie was a little cheesy, but I did like it.
Yeah. Mine would have to be A Raisin in the Sun.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. A
Yes.
Raisin in the Sun. Even though I'd seen the movie first, I saw it was a play first. But yeah, I'd say A Raisin in the Sun is probably like my favorite because it captures like um, black culture in a way that I understood, in a very strong way that I could identify with, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah, black culture, black struggle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But my first one that I saw was the first one that I saw was before I actually moved to New York, and it kind of was like one of the tools as an adult that said, "Oh man, you got to move here and do this." It was bringing the noise, bringing the funk. I think it had uh, Saving Young Glover. I think Gregory Hines was in it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Bootleg Hill was in it. Yeah.
The reason why I asked that question is because like I said, In the Heights was one of like my favorite plays, and
Yeah.
so it was a big discussion about the colorism in Hollywood, and and especially with the darker skin tone. Did you ever feel colorism while going on like casting calls, or felt like, you know, if you weren't who you were, you know, you probably would have got the role or not, in that specific reason?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when I started getting major auditions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd auditioned for a role, and someone contacted me from the office, which doesn't usually happen. And they said, "Oh, you did really, really well. You know, we were just looking for, because the character was more urban, we were looking
Right.
for someone with darker skin. You know what I mean? That reflects the hood." And I was like, "Wow, okay."
Wow.
I grew up inside. It doesn't get any more, yeah, hood than what I know inside. But I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's a adequate. I don't think it's an adequate view of real people. But I get it. The world's evolving. The world's evolving. One minute you're watching Friends with a totally white cast and you're enjoying it, and then you realize that this isn't a view of what New York City is. You know what I mean? New York City is this melting pot. Oh, I was duped. And then conversations arise like this, and we evolve, and we become a better world. Yeah, so I'm optimistic about it. I see things changing. I see things
Right.
changing in terms of like diverse cast. I think now, like you mentioned in the Heights, now it's that time for diversity within those subgroups. But I really like the way, I think it's Lin Manuel. Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really like the way he handled it, in terms of saying, "Oh, hey, I messed up. I know now. Moving forward, I'll bring about change."
Yeah.
I think that's a strong statement. You know.
Right, right. Especially when people actually have a chance to speak up with, like, you know, different social platforms like Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, where people who feel left out could have a choice to speak up. Because if we didn't have these platforms, he probably would never know that people feel this way. And, you know, being
Yeah.
from New York, I go to Dykeman, so I see the different cultures and I see the reflection of the city, and I didn't get to see that in the movie versus the play. So I could understand that.
Which
Right.
is really sad, especially being a New Yorker, living in New York. You see, I think New York is probably for me, it is the most diverse place I've ever been in my life. I remember going there and someone asked me, "Oh, what are you?" And I was like, "I'm black." And they were like, "Okay, I know that, but like, what kind of black are you?
Yeah.
Are you this or that?" I was like, "Ah, okay, I get it." So yeah, I think if you're gonna film anything in New York or show, the environment of New York City, it's important to be true to it. It's important to be true. Because when you let
Right.
down the people in New York, ooh, it's hard to come back to their graces.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we're tough. We're tough. We have tough skin out here. We speak our mind, very raunchy, but we come from a place of love.
I'm listening. Yeah, that's always is. Yeah.
Dope. So moving on to the Oval, you play the
Mhm.
chief of staff, and
Yeah.
playing a gay man in that role on
Yeah.
national TV.
Yeah.
Well, down low, right? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Bisexual, closeted. We've been debating of if he fits the stereotype of down low or not. I like to call it he's closeted. He hasn't come to full terms with himself just yet because
Okay,
of
so
image.
yeah.
Yeah, probably down low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the proper terms yet, but so how does it feel to portray that role, especially on a black television? I mean, especially on a black
Yeah.
network like BET.
Yeah, it's a challenge because you want to be as respectful as you can. I mean, with the genre in which we shoot, like you want to be as respectful as you can. You want to honor a specific demographic, and you want to, or I want to. My goal is to show the humanity within the person, and that be an aspect of who he is. But deep down inside, I think like there's so many aspects to the human being that's just another thing on it. But like, the biggest goal for me is just to honor and be as respectful to the character to where that community can look at it and say, "Oh, I understand and I see that person and I know that person." Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, as far as like finding a character, I think it just delves into humanity. How do you love? What is love? What is lust? What is infatuation? Um, yeah, and I think once you understand that, and how that works, and you understand how humanity, as far as humanity is concerned, we're all linked to some degree in terms of emotion. It's not a difficult thing. Yeah, it's not a difficult thing.
Right.
First, I was like, whoa, okay,
Yeah,
this
and
guy
then
said, what? Okay, oh, but the the least I judge and the more I honor, the better I am with it. Yeah.
right. And I think that's such a it's a also challenging yet rewarding role because number
Yeah.
one, you are playing a gay man who hasn't
Yeah.
come out openly to the
Yeah.
public. Then you're also dating a white man as well. So that's another issue. So it's like this is different. And a lot of the times too, it's especially for the Black community, we are not
Yeah.
as open as other cultures to talk about, homosexual relationships. So
Yeah.
to be on a national show like BET, which is a Black network, that's amazing, and to embody that role of him also being has such a major role in the government, like that's, for you, that I know that probably was like kind of, it was definitely different, but
Yeah, it's different.
challenging.
It's different, but I'm honored. I'm really honored because I mean, we just finished talking about diversity within a Latin culture. You know what I mean? And then we talked about diversity within African American culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the best things that we could talk about is inclusion. You know what I mean? Because um, I think in terms of integration and in terms of, I think if we just say as Black people, we want to be seen, or as dark-skinned Latinos, we want to be seen and represented. If
Mm.
we don't think outside of it and say, okay, there's other cultures that aren't represented that need to be represented in this, then I think we work against the system. We work against the system. So I think what Tyler has done is just that. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud. There's been an evolution with this guy that I played, Donald Winthrop.
Mhm.
But I'm really proud of the opportunity to take the role on, And I hope there's so much more that I'm learning as we go along with the character, So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to season 4, 5, and 6, and what I learn, what evolution I can bring, what people teach me, and what I can bring to the character and put into the gumbo pot. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler Perry is doing his thing now with that show.
Yeah.
Especially are you guys filming on the Tyler Perry production site too?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
since COVID, he's created this thing called Camp Quarantine, which is so dope. He basically creates a bubble at Tyler Perry Studios in which we work and exist inside of from the moment we start filming until the moment we end. And basically, like everybody that comes on is on lockdown on the set, even Tyler. We all live, sleep, and eat on set. Nobody leaves from start to finish.
And you
The
said,
only
is
reason
it just one day, a week, 3 weeks?
of shooting, no, it's like the entire time that we're there for like sometimes we're there for like a month, maybe less, maybe longer, but like we're there for quite a bit of time and to be locked down. Yeah,
Right. Wow. But
yeah.
I guess it probably helps, probably a little bit easier as an actor to stay in character.
It is,
Yeah.
because everything you need is there.
Mm-hmm.
Usually like when we go, when we're not on lockdown, we're traveling, like driving to such and such's house to rehearse this, and then driving to the studio for fittings, driving for this. With that, it's just like, hey, we got a shuttle picking you up at this time to bring you there. It's 2 minutes away. Oh, I need to rehearse with this person. They're next door. Or oh, I got a stunt training in a minute. Oh, it's like right across the field.
Mm.
So it's easy, and everything you need is there. Yeah.
That's so dope. And the ratings are still high too as well, which is really good. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
premiering this week, which I'm excited about. Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get into respect. Oh my God, I'm so excited to speak about this. Like, first of all, you're playing one of the greatest of all time, Smokey Robinson. First of all,
Yeah.
how does it even feel to play him? Like, how does that feel?
It feels really good. It's an out of body experience. I'm not gonna lie. It's moments like this when you say that and you elaborate on it. and everything starts to get gushy inside, where I'm like, oh man, that's true. I,
Yeah.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Like I can't even use the word. Like I need a thesaurus right now to give something greater than honored because I grew up. I grew up with Lionel Richie, Smokey Robinson, that era. I grew up with it playing in the house every day. You know, and I've idolized him. And I don't use that term loosely. I have idolized this man since I was a kid. So like the idea of being able to portray a living legend that you idolize, um, it's a lot, it's a lot, but it's something to be proud of, and it also says that there's something greater at play that's bigger than me, that's guiding things, you know what I mean? That's supporting me, that's honoring, my mission. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like since I was able to like study your career so far, is seeing that like each role you're getting is like you see the progression, you see
Yeah.
your work dedication, you see that you're dedicated to the craft, and
Yeah.
especially like the Smokey. Did you guys get a chance to speak while you guys were like on set, or when you were trying to at least study him as a person?
Yeah. I have not. I still haven't met the man. Like I want to. It's one of my dreams to meet him. And there's been like coordination upon meeting, but it still hasn't happened. I remember I got a buddy that works at Capitol Records, and I was like, man, listen, I gotta leave soon to shoot this because I didn't get a lot of time from the moment that I booked it to the moment that we shot. It was a very small amount of time,
Mm.
but I was like, yo, I need you to connect the Smokey thing. I want to meet this cat because I'm playing this cat and I got to figure this out. And and the moment I landed in Atlanta to shoot, my homie called and he was like, yo, man, I got Smokey. He's here at Capitol, man. Come over right now. And I'm like, dude, I'm in Atlanta. And then there was Oscar week where, I attended the Oscar thing that he was hosting. And I was like, oh, I'm going to meet him here. Yeah, I got there and the reps was like, man, Smokey was tired. He had to go home. But yeah, no, I hadn't gotten a chance to meet him. But I think to prepare for the role, I used whatever I could. One of which was like I did a lot of YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTube interviews.
Thank God for you too.
Yeah, I read about specifically his relationships with Aretha Franklin and how deep it went. And I remember like a few days before I left, I was still like, Denise, there's more, there's more. What else could I pull? And then I started playing Smokey Robinson's songs, like all of his albums. And I was like, oh, that's it right there. He wrote all of his songs. So basically, what he wrote is an expression of the artist. And I remember there was a song called Tracks of My Tears. And I would listen to it over and over. And he says something like, my smile is my makeup I wear since my breakup with you. And I was like, the man's telling me that there's something behind this smile that you don't see, and the smile is a cover for something. And then there was Tears of a Clown, and I was like, oh, he's talking to me right now. So yeah, I went by like his writing was like pivotal in like creating the character, which I hope people get a chance to see. Yeah, I can't wait to see what it looks like. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, because well, I wanted to ask too. I know obviously Jennifer Hudson didn't really get to speak to Aretha because she passed like a year or two ago now. And so yeah, was it 2018, 2019?
Yeah.
So I know Smokey is still alive and active. Did they put green contacts in you?
No, no. My
Okay.
eyes are, I don't know if you can see, but my eyes are like kind of greenish brown.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh, so you don't even need it. Yeah,
Yeah.
natural pretty boy.
Here's the funny thing. When I lived in New York, I had buddies who were singers. One specific one, they'd be like, yo, Smokey, yo, one day you're going to play Smokey Robinson. Until this day, from the moment that I met this cat until this day, we would walk, whenever we passed each other, he'd be like, yo, Smokey. So I
Wow.
remember when I booked it, I was like, yo, dude, you're not going to believe this. Guess what? And he was like, I told you, man.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did a great job with casting. I didn't even know your eyes were green. Cause I'm like when I found it out that you were playing Kim, I'm like, oh, I can see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same skin tone, same hair texture. I could definitely see it. But now it's the eyes too. I'm like, oh, they did an amazing job. Like,
Thank you for that. Thank you.
of course.
Yeah.
And Smokey also has like a soft tone voice as well.
Yeah. That, that was the challenge.
Okay, yes. Someone's
That was the challenge because he's up here and I'm down, like. But we got a voice coach. I got a voice coach here, and we trained like for hours, and we got it together. Yeah. That was to hold that. I had to train my voice for a while to keep that tone throughout the days. Because I remember the first day on set when we shot, they were like, okay, no, let's go higher. We can go even higher with it. And I was like, okay, cool. My voice wasn't trained to go that high. So at the end of the day, I was like, ha. So I was like, you know what? Next time they call, I'm going to train this Joker to be the strongest muscle I have. Yeah, so I did that, and yeah, I'm curious to see I can't wait to see what it looks like.
I know. I mean, so I've been waiting for a long time, especially
I
since
was
COVID happened. The announcement I think the announcement of the movie came out right before the pandemic started. Yeah. I think I seen it on like YouTube. I mean, on Twitter, they had announced it, and then like I think a month or two later, I think like that's when they put a pause on a lot of productions in Hollywood. Yeah. So I know it took probably a minute, right, to complete it.
It took a while. It was yeah, I think we were supposed to come out last year in August. I think it was July, then it got pushed back to August, then it got pushed back to Thanksgiving, then Christmas. Then I think at some point they were like, you know what, we're just gonna roll this thing back another year, like all the way to August 2021. That way, people can go and they can enjoy it in the theaters. It was nerve-wracking to hear it, but like I think at a certain point you wanna, it's for the best. You know what I mean? We live in this culture where we want things to happen immediately, but sometimes you just gotta wait for it. It's like wine. Sometimes you just gotta wait for it to be, the right time for people to enjoy it. That's a good comparison to wine.
Yes. Before we go, I just wanted to ask you: is there anything that you learned about Smokey in the film that you didn't know before?
Yeah. I didn't understand how enchanting he was. I didn't understand how enchanting he was. And when you start to peel away and find out what's underneath the smile, that was like a really interesting thing, because you start to hear, like, I remember he said something about, I lived in Detroit, and during that time, Detroit was rough. And if I wasn't a singer, I'd be in a gang, I'm like, it takes a really tough person to say that, you know what I mean? I never thought I would work in a gang, So it says it, underneath this smile is this really tough survivor, tough survivor who is enchanting, who is mesmerizing. I watched this interview with he and Diana Ross. I like to talk about it because that's when you realize the power of this man. I think she's performing in Vegas, and Smokey Robinson shows up, and he says, "Hey, let's sing something together." And he's staring at this woman, and Diana Ross is like, at that time, she's like the epitome of beauty in Black women, And she won't look this man in his eyes. And she's like, okay, we can sing. What you want to sing, Smokey? But she's like looking the other way, and this man, and he's sitting there really cool and calm, and he's just staring at her. And he's waiting for this woman to turn around and look into his eyes, and she won't. And they start singing. And he gets it. She turns around and she looks into his eyes. She's like, and she's stuck. It's just the most enchanting thing, because she's stuck and she can't turn away. And before you know it, she leans in and she kisses him. And then she backs up and she looks at the audience like, did I just kiss this man in front of all these people?
Wow.
And then she turns away. She looks back at him. She sees his eyes again. And kisses him again, And I was like, that's a brother I'd love to be. You know what I mean? That is an important, smooth brother. He knows exactly what he's doing too. Yeah.
Yeah, that era of old, like with the Isley brothers, Smokey Robinson, Quincy Jones, they just got some type. I don't know what it is. They just so smooth. They just natural ladies, man. I don't get it.
And it's a timeless era.
Yes.
It's a timeless era of like great songwriting by people who actually sing the songs that they wrote, and the longevity of it is like, I can play Cruising right now, and a 5-year-old will come in here and start like bopping to it,
Right.
Yeah.
That's so dope. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me with Urban News. I cannot wait to see the Respect movie. I told my grandmother, we're gonna go. Make sure make sure you're free, August. Okay, we're gonna make sure we're gonna have a good day with the spa. Yes. take her out and everything. That's Aretha Franklin. They were the same age. And that's also one of her favorite artists. So
That's
yeah.
cool. You have to let me know what you think.
Of course. Well, again, thank you so much. Good luck on everything. I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey, thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate the time.
Of course, no problem.
Take care. Hold it down in New York.
Oh, of course. You want to tell me when you come back to New York too. Take me to some of your
I
old
will.
grounds.
I will. We get some pizza.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.